Can the power of Orgone devices be proved scientifically? Do you need to believe in them in order for them to work? Is there proof of them actually working? What else can I do with my Orgone devices besides just have them sit on a shelf? These questions will be answered in this video. And Orgone devices can come in different forms, not just pyramids, which you're all used to seeing. In fact, here's my little Dragonite. The egg is full of Orgone power, as well as he was also handmade full of Orgone as well. And we're going to talk all about what Orgone energy is, scientific proof, how you can use it, and more. So stay tuned. Now, I haven't done an Orgone video for a long time, so here's a little piece I just created recently. There's this front and then the back, okay, and just a quick recap for all you newbies that maybe don't really, or just starting your journey on Orgonite. Orgone devices are made with metal. So for example, you'll see brass here, and then you'll see brass shavings, and you'll see steel and copper in my Orgone devices. I used to use aluminum, but I find that the energy coming off aluminum for some reason is weaker and not so good. I don't know, I just don't feel it. I feel it better with the copper and brass and just real heavy steel. Okay, but anyways, so there's, you know, basically a 50-50 mixture of your metal, and then you have another layers of stones, especially quartz. I always put really big quartz pieces too, because quartz always is the key ingredient. So you'll see on this side, you'll see those 3 big quartz there. See right here. And then you'll see rose quartz all in there. You'll see blue kyanite. You'll see selenite, and you'll see lots of shungite in mine, because shungite's a really good grounding one. And I always like to sometimes add this Tesla coil thingy in there too. But yeah, so basically it's metal and stones. Okay. And here we got amethyst in this one too. I mean, I put a lot of different kinds of stones, but I always put stones that sort of work together, I feel, that kind of like each other. I know all stones, but each one has a different frequency, different range, and I try to sort of make the stones as friendly with each other as possible. And in the middle of this one, I have an Orgone pendant right in the middle as well. So there's Orgone device within an Orgone device. Now, Orgone energy is a controversial topic because it's not necessarily, or maybe we're just learning now how to actually measure it. It's in the atmosphere. It's kind of similar to, if you've ever heard in science class, or ether. It's similar to like this energy, like ether, for example, that you can't necessarily measure. It's not electricity, which you could measure with a voltage meter or something like that. So what it is it's in the air, and these Orgone devices accumulate it, and then through the crystal and the metal squeezing together, it creates this reaction that sort of cleans out the bad Orgone into good Orgone. And that good Orgone creates great effects. You'll see your plants grow, you'll see your trees grow. I have to cut my grass twice a week. Like, it's that bad, like in a good way, because it's growing. Your plants will grow. That's why a lot of people buy Orgone plates and put their plants on it if they want to revive them. This tree here that I have at home, I've had to replant 3 times already, and I just see a really bigger pot now. Okay. And then we get our neighbors saying, oh my God, how come my trees are growing so much? They're growing into your yard now. How come? And blah, blah, blah. Like, people are noticing it. And it's the fact that Orgone energy, the good kind, that is, accumulated in the device and then sent out, sort of thing, it just creates a lot of plant growth. That's one thing. That's one way you could potentially measure your Orgone energy. Another thing that Orgone energy does is it creates health benefits, better sleep, more kind of like I call them psychic dreams, telepathic dreams or whatever, those kind of things, clairvoyance. It increases your intuition and things like that. And it also increases your health. And it also makes you thirsty because it's balancing a lot of the water element. You know, it balances the weather, and you'll find that you'll get rain, like a lot of, there's this Orgonise Africa movement, for example, to get rain in parts of Africa by gifting a bunch of Orgonite pieces, things like that. So it changes the weather in some way, the atmosphere, in the way that it balances it. So it also balances the water within us as well. And so you'll become very thirsty because your body wants to wash out toxins, and you'll suddenly become aware of needing to drink water more often, which is a good thing. Most of us are not hydrated enough. So that's a good thing too. Now, lots of the ways that we used to measure orgone energy was through psychic stuff like dowsing, or just having psychics tell if your orgone device is good or bad. And they're coming out with these new life force meters and things like that. And you know what? I don't know. I've never used any of them because I never had the inkling to actually try and test the orgone devices, because I just know that they work based on what's going on in my household and based on the environmental factors that happen. Once, I've been doing this for over 10 years now, so I'm used to the effects now. But when I first started making them, there were big changes in my life. And if you've never owned an orgone device before, you will go through what I call this toxic cleansing period, where you'll start, crying on a dime, and you'll really start to become aware of what's going in your mouth, and you'll start to gain better thoughts, more abundant thoughts and motivated thoughts, and also more clarity up here, and then as well as all your plants growing. And one thing about the plant growing thing is that things mold faster because plant growth. So you want to eat your vegetables as soon as possible, because they're going to start to turn moldy or rotten quickly, because of the fact that orgone boosts plant growth, and mold is a plant and that kind of thing. So it's just an excuse for us to eat our vegetables and fruits faster, though, right? So nothing wrong with that, and our gardens thrive and things like that. But the whole thing is how do you measure this energy? Now, some people have used Kirlian technology, which measures life force, and some people use certain, I guess you could call them like electrical machines. But this thing is that orgone energy it's not an electricity. So I'm not really sure about that. I feel very skeptical about lots of the machines out there. And, how do you measure energy? It's like, how do you scientifically measure this kind of energy? Like, when you go to a place, for example, and you feel like it's not good there, there's energy it's something in the energy, and it's making you feel that, right? Or or else you'll go to a place where you feel really, really great, and you just feel that this is awesome. Or if you have to choose between 2 or 3 houses that you want to move into, you're going to pick the one that feels, more, out of all the ones that you have choices. You have 3 lined up here that you've chosen. You've looked at 20 places. You have 3. Why did you choose those 3? Not only because it suits your bedrooms and how many bedrooms you need and blah, 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 and location, but also because you're likely to pick the one that feels the best for you and your family. How do you measure that kind of energy? How do you measure what you're feeling? So there's a lot of that, with orgone devices. And then some of you might be asking, do I have to believe in this orgone stuff? Well, no, you don't have to believe in it. Orgone devices are just a tool. Do you believe in your car? No, you trust that your car is a tool. You believe in yourself. You believe in yourself to drive the car. So, it's like that. It's believing in yourself, and that using these tools, as orgone devices are, just a tool, in order to enhance your life. However, the more that you do believe it, and the more that you can create your own reality, then the more it's going to work for you. So there is an element of belief in the way that your intentions boost the output of the Orgone devices. And intention is a very big thing. And as we rise into this new age of Aquarius that we're in right now, and technology and moving into a different way of being, we will start to realize how powerful the mind is. And that's why the power of intent. And that's why I do these telekinesis spoon bending videos. I only have a couple out there or whatever, because it's not about telekinesis and proving that it works and in that. It's not about that. It's showing you, when you do your own stuff, how powerful your mind, how powerful your thoughts are. And when you try and focus your thoughts on ambition, motivation, solving problems, and having a better life in relationships, money, work, health, all of it, the more you put your mind to it, the more you gain benefits in your life. And it's the same with Orgone devices. The more that you intend for them to work, and you have that loving intent that things are going to go good in your life and everything always works out for me, okay, then they will show you that exact same output. So the main thing is, it's really hard to measure energy. How much energy do you use loving your spouse? Or how much do you love your spouse? Can we measure that in energy? Right? Or it's difficult. And that's why Orgonite is so controversial. And people are always looking for a way to debunk it. And I just say, don't waste your time debunking it. Instead, work on making your own Orgone devices, or purchasing your first one, or whatever, and watching for yourself how good they work and that. I like to put my plants. This one, a few weeks ago was pretty tiny, and already it's just exploded. I put it on this Orgone plate here. And I also love crystals, so I like to add extra crystals around it here. But here's one use that you can do, is you just put your plant on top. Now with this Orgone device, some of my Orgone devices have a layer of color in between. So in this one where you can see all the metal, some of them people prefer where you can't necessarily all the metal. It's more of a, an art piece kind of thing. Okay, so under here, here's the bottom of this one, which has I like to add geometric symbols as well to mine. But yeah, so here's an example of charging plate too. And so you can put your water on top, your jug of water I like to put your plants on top, to help things grow, and to, just a nice addition to the house. It's going to help with your relationships in the family as well, get people to talk more, get people to think more, using their mind more, and being motivated to do things. Okay, so that's, for example, one use that you could do is put your plants and your water and your crystals on top. Okay, and the Orgone device will cleanse the crystals as well, kind of recharge them, kind of reset the chapter, as well as enhance their frequency, because each crystal also has an energetic frequency, which again, because energy in this case is hard to measure. Okay, another thing you can do with your Orgone plate, for example, is place your feet on it for meditation. So here I am putting my feet on it as I do meditation on YouTube. Now, I got this idea from my friend Michelle, who said she tried that when she bought one of my Orgone plates, and she's like, oh my God, Trina, you got to try this. You got to put your feet on it because so many cool things happen. So now that is another use that I didn't even know of before that you could potentially do with your Orgone plate. And I've had a few clients say, oh, I bought one of your Orgone pieces and I put it in my office, and everybody comes in and sits down and chats with me and starts touching it, and they don't even realize that they're touching it. And it's just very healing, and they feel really good, and they want to come in my office because it feels so good in there and stuff like that. So definitely Orgone devices cleanse the air and make things feel more positive in the way. Now, lots of people ask me, how far how far does the orgone go around your house? And it does depend on mass. It does depend on the size of your piece for how far. And it also depends on how clean your own energy is. If you are a depressed person, suicidal, who needs a lot of cleansing energetically, then it's gonna take a long time before it starts reaching your neighbors. It has to focus on cleansing everything in its zone first, right? So the cleaner you are to begin with, so to speak, and I mean clean in thoughts, clean in mind, and clean in body, all that triangle, the more cleaner that you are to begin with, then the further it will go, because it doesn't have to work as hard right on you. Now it's able to spread more, if that makes sense. So the way to help move things faster in your neighborhood, like let's say you live in kind of a bad neighborhood and you want to make it good, then I would start off by buying 4 pieces. And I'm not saying buy from me. I mean, there's a lot of good orgone makers out there, okay? I think I'm good, but I know that a lot of people out there are good too. So you go with what makes you feel amazing, okay? You always want to go by that energetic feel and what you're pulled to and what you're attracted to. Your heart does know, okay? But it is your heart and your brain working in tandem to make these choices. But anyways, back to the thing is that put 1 in each corner of your property as well as 1 inside. So buy about 4 or 5 pieces. If you had a big, nice orgone plate from me in the middle of your house or in your house at all, and then you bought 4 small ones from other people to try everybody out. If you have 1 on each corner of your property as well as the nice feature piece in your house, you'd be really, really good, as well as you'd start affecting the neighbors. And that happens at my house all the time, is that the neighbors are affected as well. And you could see that our little cul-de-sac is much friendlier, happier now these past few years, and talking to each other and loving each other and helping each other out. There's a big difference. And you'll see that in your neighborhood as well. So basically, the more you have, the more it affects around you. And it can go for a long time. It can go for a kilometer to a mile around your property. Okay, the effects can potentially go that far. And I've seen it by cloud coverage. You can tell by the clouds. But as well as I'm always continually making pieces for clients and that. And so it's hard for me to just say how far that your orgone device will go. But, one of my bigger pyramids, for example, or one of those big charging plates would for sure clear your whole house, even bigger houses, and even probably get into the neighbors as well a little bit maybe. But that again depends on how clean you and your family are to begin with. And when I say clean, again, I mean energetically, how happy, how healthy, and that. And it really starts internally. So the orgone, it seems like over the past decade that I've been making these, the orgone always wants to target the person, the humans of the house first, clean them out, get them going, and then it starts to spread. But in the meantime, they're still protecting you against EMF, which is electromagnetic frequency, which is from cell phone towers, from Wi-Fi, and especially with this 5G coming out, which to me, I intuitively feel that it is going to be stronger and maybe a little harsher on our bodies than the normal 3G and 4 and 5G were, 3 and 4G were kind of thing. And I feel that orgone devices are now going to shine in the world. I've been waiting a decade for them to really, really take off. And I feel like now's the time, because they offer so much good protection against those kind of electromagnetic waves, which mess with your brain, which can potentially give you tumors, which makes you feel lethargic, which makes you feel sick, which makes you feel tired. Whole host of bad energy that Wi-Fi and cell phone towers and all that kind of stuff brings. Electronic energy is bad for us. So orgone devices definitely help protect against that as well. So there you go. Please visit me at www.themoontree.org, helping you navigate life's energies. Bye for now.
I'm on a journey. There's a long way left to go, dancing down the open road.
Themoontree.org, intuitive living for a magical life.